So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with both local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have with us Kim and Ellie from the agency. So, firstly, Kim and Ellie, thank you so much for your time today. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, the agency, what you do, and how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Oh, lovely. Well, hi, Chris. Nice to meet you. And thank you very much for inviting Ellie and I here today.
Very
Obviously,
well.
lovely to have this opportunity to talk with you about the agency and how we work here, my journey, and obviously Ellie's journey at the agency as well. So
Brilliant.
just to give you a little bit of an overview, we've been established in Cleckheaton for 18 years. I personally have been in recruitment for 36 years.
Wow.
And we'd like to think of ourselves as a small boutique agency. We specialise in commercial office recruitment, so that's everything from entry level, so somebody coming fresh out of college or university, right up to sort of middle management, and we deal with some director level roles as well. The types of roles that we tend to specialise in, it's everything that's white collar. We also deal with some niche roles as well. So we get involved in, some scientific roles, lab, materials planning, all sorts of different kind of niche roles. And we feel that if we have the expertise internally, because we do have a lot of experience within the office, if we do have that experience, then obviously we would take a vacancy on with the client, but only if we felt that we really had the expertise just to deal with those vacancies.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, and Ellie, go ahead.
So I'd just like to as well say thank you, Chris, for having us on.
Very well.
I'm Ellie. I am the branch administrator at the agency. I've worked here for 2.5 years now, and I started off as an apprentice. I came in doing my business administrated level 3 apprenticeship, and it's been really good doing an apprenticeship and learning, a new role alongside it. It's my first time in full-time employment. So I've had an amazing opportunity to learn alongside doing this amazing job, and along with my coursework, this role has helped so much with my apprenticeship coursework, and it just got me to a great stage with that. So I completed that last year in summer. And, my role's evolved a lot over the last 2.5 years. So now I have a lot of focus on the temporary side of things, like the temporary division. So it's just been great, it's really evolved. So dipping loads of different parts of the business. So yeah, I'm a bit here, there, and everywhere with this role. It's great.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's great to know that I've interviewed 2 or 3 people. I think I mentioned before we started that have been apprentices themselves, but also recruit apprentices, and it's such a great way to bring people through, especially people that want to work with us, want to learn. There's too many people obviously working in recruitment. I find too many businesses at the moment say it's really there aren't any great people out there, and even if you find them, they won't stay. And I just say that's not true. I think there's loads of amazing people out there, but we've got to be better employers. We've got to be better at employing than perhaps we were 10, 20 years ago, when it was more of an employer's market. I think it's much more an employee's market now, and we've got to be therefore better.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there, Chris, because as I mentioned, we weren't actually in the market at that time to actually look at taking somebody on at Ellie's level. But I think because there is a huge shortage of good candidates at the moment, and it's not just West Yorkshire, obviously, it's nationally, it's globally, we've got a real lack of good quality candidates. And I think a lot of companies need to bite the bullet and just think, well, if we found somebody who we feel is a really good team fit, somebody that we feel that we can, give them a little step up into our industry, or whatever industry it is that client's looking to recruit into. And from my perspective, I think it is about paying it forward, because I think we've got to be looking at the talent that's coming through and thinking, let's create a position for this person. Even if Ellie did decide to leave after her apprenticeship after 18 months, she would have gone with our blessing. But I think it is about just giving people a helping hand, because that's what happened to me right in the early stages of my career when I first got into recruitment. I started at 21 in recruitment, and to be honest with you, I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the confidence, I really didn't have the right skill set to actually go into recruitment, but somebody gave me an opportunity.
Brilliant.
And here I am 36 years later.
Brilliant.
So that's why when Ellie knocked on the front door, I thought, yes, she's for us. We're going to give her a chance.
Brilliant. One of the principles we operate with in Action Coach is the idea that the challenge I think most people have is we recruit on experience, but we sack on attitude. It's like,
Yes.
attitude's the issue, not the experience. And so, our proposition is with a base level of experience, whatever that needs to be, it may be high, maybe low. Let's recruit people with great attitude, because you can always teach the skills, but we can't really teach an attitude.
No, I've got to agree with you there. And I think every day, myself and the rest of the team, we learn from Ellie. We learn from her approach to work, the things that she has to say, the contribution that she makes to the agency, because, I'm a big believer in, fresh eyes in any situation. But I think somebody coming fresh out of A-levels has possibly got a much fresher eye than the rest of us. So we've really benefited ourselves by having Ellie work alongside us.
Brilliant. So if you look back sort of to early days, did you both foresee yourself working in recruitment, or did you have other plans for yourselves when you were kids?
Well, when I was younger, Chris, believe it or not, I actually wanted to be an air stewardess.
My sister was one.
And then I wanted to become a beautician, but unfortunately that didn't happen for various reasons. So I just embarked upon a business studies course. And I think the rest just sort of went from there, really. I ended up getting into sales administration. And then, as I say, I fell into recruitment. So that wasn't the plan for me. But I think for Ellie, probably a different slant on your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd probably say that not recruitment, in particular, I was beelining for, but I've always known I would probably end up in, quite a people-focused career.
Great.
I've always been, I love people. I've always been a very people person, I'm very bubbly. So I've always wanted to, work in something that focused on that. And I thought that brings out the best in me. And my mum as well, she's actually worked in HR her whole life. So I've kind of grown up around this kind of work. So I think it may have been in my veins a little bit. So,
brilliant.
Yeah, it's definitely shown me as well, this job, that I was meant to be in this kind of role.
Lovely. Great. Yeah. A wonderful place to be. Knowing you're in the right place, that's absolutely super. So if we look back over the whole period, but and including the last couple of years with Ellie, when you look at the growth of your business, what are some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome, would you say?
Since we started?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, Chris, we opened our doors in 2006, and literally 18 months later, we hit the recession.
Yep.
So, we're still very much in the early stages of the business, establishing ourselves in the area. Fortunately, I did have a lot of experience behind me already, and I had a lot of clients and people that I felt confident would work with me when I opened the business here. But, we were still faced with, a serious economic situation. So I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges that we were faced with. But at that time, we were very lucky. We were working with a number of clients that either were recession proof. So we dealt with a lot of debt collection companies, or we dealt with a lot of NHS linked companies as well. And obviously they weren't affected by interest rates and all of that side of things, so we were very lucky that in a short space of time since we opened our doors, we'd managed to establish these relationships, because during the recession, nobody wanted you knocking on their door trying to sell them something, because nobody wanted to buy. So we were very fortunate at that time. And then obviously the pandemic, so that with it brought its challenges as well. But I think very quickly we got ourselves established working from home. We had two very large clients where we had high volume temps that we had to be working from home as well. So it was just working, you know, smartly with, you know, as a team here, but also with our clients to make sure that everybody was, you know, working effectively, and everybody was okay. And for us, it is about welfare as well, the welfare of the temporary workers and the welfare of the people that we work alongside. And you know, we did a fabulous job, you know, and I'm proud to say that, you know, I mean, I actually was back in the office after 5 weeks, because for me, working from home wasn't the ideal thing. But everybody else worked from home, and we just worked really well as a team. And yeah, so you've got to overcome these challenges, you know, because if not, there's no point being in business, because no day runs smoothly, Chris. You know, we always have something that presents itself.
Yes. No, and that's it. I was told a long time ago by, it was the CEO of my organisation at the time, and he said that Chris, the job of a business owner is to solve problems. So if you don't like problems, then it's probably best not to run a business. And
absolutely,
you know, and that's it. And since then, I've yet to come to believe that growth typically causes problems. So actually, if we don't have problems, we're probably not growing fast enough, and therefore, so problems are a good thing, because they're a good sign. So it's a good. I think it's a good way of looking at it. But
we love a challenge.
Absolutely brilliant. And Ellie, from your perspective, you know, since you joined the organisation, what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, well, when I came in, we were probably just at a stage where we were still in the midst of the restrictions of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we still had to, you know, we're doing things remotely, and people weren't coming into the office at all. And I know from what Kim said before the pandemic, you know, everyone was coming in. That was the way it always was. So, you know, people coming in is a major part of how we do what we do. You know, one of our main values is it's a personal approach here.
Yes.
Which is why a lot of people like coming in, because, you know, we get to know you, and you know, that's how we get people where they want to be, and we get clients the people that they need. So when moving away from the restrictions and they weren't needed anymore, probably the big challenge has been getting people back into that mindset and getting people back in, because that's what we really want and we thrive on when we're meeting and, you know, amazing people. So I am like the first point of contact when getting people in and having that initial conversation. So I've kind of had to, you know, think of different ways to get people back in, you know, tell them why they're coming in, what they can expect. So it's been great. Probably over the past year, it's got a little bit easier, you know, getting people back in. Brilliant. It is slow, because, you know, people, in the sense of changing the mindset again, because it was such a quick thing that everyone had to just change. So changing again, you know, it's been difficult, but I think it's getting better and people are coming in, which is great to see, because it's a new experience for myself as well, because I've been so used to it not being like that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. I think a lot of people that, you know, I've spoken to and worked with have, you know, because of the enforced having to work remotely and from home, have realised how many meetings that we had didn't need to be face to face, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But therefore, I guess it's now important that we communicate the value of getting together, because I think. And I think people are more than happy to cherry pick, but in general, dependent on the work environment, you know, why don't we do a Zoom call, or why don't we do this? And I think it's great, as long as they understand that and accept that personal, that, you know, you can't beat sitting down, sharing a coffee or a bite to eat or whatever it would be. So it's it is important that we, in effect, sell the value of meeting up, isn't it? I think
absolutely, yes, and it's what we've always done. I mean, you know, I'm old school in terms of how we, you know, deliver our service to our candidates and our clients. And at the end of the day, Chris, you know, our clients do pay us to actually find the right people for the job. So for us, just to pick a CV off a job board and send that to a client, we would be doing them a misservice, and we wouldn't be doing our job properly. So we go through a full face-to-face interview with every candidate. Obviously, we have to do all the right to work, all the ID checks, etc. And, you know, we want to really get to know them, not just, you know, you want a part-time accounts role, for instance, you know, but what kind of culture, what kind of company, what kind of environment, you know, and I think only by meeting somebody face to face, you can see their eye contact, their body language, you
Yeah.
can feel their energy, and that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, brilliant.
Not when you are trying to do something with a phone call and a piece of paper, i.e. a CV.
Completely agree. I completely agree. Yeah, no, it's absolutely wonderful. And whether it's from the challenge or not, what would you say some of the biggest learnings you've had about growing a business?
There's competition out there, Chris. We've got to be aware of competition. I mean, at the end of the day, we are a small independent business.
Yep.
You know, and we are up against the biggies. You know, there's a lot of agencies in Leeds and Bradford, and obviously there was a lot in Huddersfield and Halifax. I think quite a few have actually closed now. But we've just got to make sure that we stay sharp and we remain consistent and we deliver on our core values, you know, which is being open and honest and transparent, you know, and providing a personal service to our candidates, but, you know, working closely with our clients as an extension of their HR function, really. So it's just really important that we continue to do what it says on the tin, really, Chris, and just provide clients with an exceptional level of service and always be honest if we're struggling to meet their needs.
Yeah, I think that's key, isn't it? It's just being open with people and, you know, admitting if we've made a mistake or admitting that we don't know something, or and it's just because we're all people, and you know, the more authentic we are, the more realistic we are. I think the more we can build rapport effectively with people than pretending that we're bulletproof. I think
absolutely
brilliant. And you're probably aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coaches are you both work with, whether that's business, sport, life in general, who've had the biggest influences on you.
Ellie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, probably the person sat right next to me. Definitely, you know, having, like I said before, coming into it's my, you know, my first job, kind of big real job, you know, so learning from Kim for 2 years, and you know we do work in a small team. You know, there's 4 of us here, so being able to watch what Kim does every day and watch what, you know, everyone in the team does every day has been amazing, because you learn why we do things and how to manage different situations, and you know, you don't always deal with, you know, the best, you know, job offers, and you know, it's not always that. So it's learning how to deal with that, and I've had like the best teachers next to me to be able to handle things myself. So I think I definitely learned a lot from Kim. It's probably insane when I think about the amount I've learned.
Wonderful.
But definitely grow my confidence anyway.
That's wonderful. Wonderful to hear.
So as far as I'm concerned, you know, I've got a long career, as I keep saying. I've worked with some really inspirational people, and I think I've worked with some people that have seen something in me that I've possibly not seen in myself at the time, and they've given me an opportunity to move forward. And that was obviously my first job into recruitment, my first managerial role.
Brilliant.
But I think there's probably 2 previous managers who really did inspire me, but they allowed me to be myself. You know, because what you see here is what you get outside of the office, and I am about, like you said earlier, about being your authentic self and just being you, because I know it's the old cliche, but people do buy from people, and people want to be friends with nice people, and I just think, you know, what I've learned myself on this journey by the people that I've worked with, and there's some things that, you know, I haven't aspired to in some of these people, but you know, it's just be myself, remain true to myself, what I believe in, but never be afraid to learn something new. And as I said earlier, you know, I learn things from Ellie every day. I learn things from, you know, my other colleagues in the office. So I think we're constantly learning on this journey, because you know, the landscape's changed so much in recruitment, changed so much. Chris, you know, it's not what it used to be.
No, I know it's changed. One of my longest standing clients is a recruitment business, funny enough, primarily in construction, and I know things have changed over time working with him on a regular basis. It's but I think that's true of business in general and employment in general, I think, isn't it? And the world is changing all the time. It is what it is. I remember being told Trying to think of his name. So Anthony Wedgwood Benn, who was a Labour MP, he was Lord Benn. He when he retired from Parliament, he used to speak at a lot of universities. He used to go and be a speaker, and he always upset the lecturers because he started his speech saying that everybody woke up knowing less the next morning than they did the day before. So we all wake up knowing less, and which upset all the lecturers because obviously they're educated. But his point was the amount of knowledge in the world is increasing so fast, our percentage of it is just reducing, and therefore we have to keep learning, even just to try and keep up. And it's so important because if we stop learning, then we stop growing. And
oh, definitely, yes, absolutely.
And out of any of that, do you find yourself using any favourite quotes or sayings on a regular basis?
Ellie?
Probably one of my things that I say to myself all the time, if something needs doing, I do it, which might seem quite simple, but you know, I always stand by that, you know, actions create results. So you know, dipping in so many different areas of the business, sometimes, you know, there is a lot going on, but I know in my head when I'm saying that to myself, if I know there's something, you know, now I need to do it, then I do it, and you know, it keeps me on track and it keeps me on top of things. So I'd probably stand by that.
Brilliant. I mean, procrastination is probably the biggest challenge to most people in anything. So being active and action oriented to avoid it is wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. How about you, Kim?
I think from my perspective, I think that I always feel there's a solution to everything. And I think working in recruitment, working with people every day, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what situation is going to present itself next. And I just think it's just really important to actually think, to break it down and look at something. And rather than looking at, obviously we do need to address the problem, but look at where do we want to get with this? What is the solution? And I tend to deal with things quite in quite a relaxed way as best I can to make sure that we get the best possible outcome. I mean, obviously we do deal with some quite serious and sensitive situations, and we want to make sure that we get the right outcome. And it's my job as a business owner to make sure that we do get the right solution. But I always feel it's important to include everybody where possible in that decision-making process, because I'm not always right, Chris, you know, and I welcome everybody else's points of view. We talk through situations, just to get a good solution as quickly as possible, so that obviously we've got the matter resolved, really.
Absolutely. No, brilliant. I was asked recently, funny enough, somebody said, is good leadership listening to other people or deciding what you need to do and getting on with it? And I said, it's both. It's exactly both. It's listening to everybody, but we have to make a decision to take an action, and that's what leadership really is that. But if we don't listen to people, then we're not going to lead anybody, because it was quite interesting. Brilliant. And sort of thinking about sort of self-learning and stuff, what have you learned about yourselves so far through your journeys?
I think mine is always, and I feel as I am repeating myself, but I think mine is always just to remain true to yourself and just always be yourself. But also, you know, I'm very much about kindness, Chris, and I'm about looking out for people and just understanding their feelings, and, you know, just making sure that everybody that we deal with walks away with a good experience, or feels as good as they, you know, they possibly can, really. And that can only come from the heart and from somebody who genuinely feels those emotions.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest lesson I've learned is that I can do it. You know, coming straight from college into, you know, into employment and into, you know, and you know, a business like the agency where there's always so much going on, and it's sometimes it can be a bit daunting when you start off, because you think, can I do this, you know? But I think I've shown myself that I can do this, you know, like with the support of, you know, the whole team. You know, now I've found that I don't have to think, oh, should I, you know, now I think, no, that is what you do. So obviously it comes with time, but you know, the team at the agency have really helped me understand that.
Brilliant. Wonderful. So looking forward a little bit, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
I think the biggest challenge, it's not just obviously us. I think it's, like we've mentioned earlier, it's a global problem with regards to the labour market. And, we probably find ourselves interviewing less people in a week than we probably did 5-6 years ago, because obviously, we're having to work extra hard. We're having to be really innovative in terms of finding, good talent, good candidates for our clients. So I think, for us, it is about making sure that we are ahead of the game. We are making sure that we're exploring all opportunities, because without our candidates, we don't have a business. So it's really important for us that, we continue to be able to deliver, really, Chris, with the right people, because it's what we do. It's our job. So I think that's the future for us. We've just got to keep doing what we're doing, be innovative, keep our lovely relationships going with our long-term clients, and obviously reaching out to new people as well, and just spreading the word, really, and making sure that everybody here is continues to be invested, trained, and and that we're all sharing the same values, and all just enjoying what we do, and I think we really do.
Brilliant. And what would you say to anyone that was thinking of going to business right now?
Recruitment or any business?
Any business.
I think it's tough. I think we've had a very tough six months this year, but I think that's been due to obviously everything that's going on around us in the economy, in the world. And I think, what our industry press is saying, where members of the REC, they're actually saying that, because obviously they gather a lot of data for us that they obviously feed back to us. And a lot of companies are saying, we're just going to wait and see. So I think obviously they were waiting for the election.
The elections.
So I think, I think it is just a case of, people have just been hanging on just to see what happens with the election and everything.
It's certainly the first 6 months of this year. I know, just in general, there have been lots of in lots of businesses I've worked with and spoken to. Patterns have changed quite, just things like sales patterns. People expect it, having I remember one of my clients normally have a busy January, and it was really quiet, and February is normally quiet and it was busy, and it was just things just aren't quite as they've been. And I think it's just accepting that doesn't mean it's over a year or over 12 months we're not going to have the same amount of business. It just means it's not necessarily in the same way as it's typically been.
Oh, definitely. As a business, we always like to say to our clients, we don't come in with a sales pitch, because we don't. But obviously, we have to attract new clients that we've never worked with before. So we are very proactive as a business, and we have to. We go through the rough and the smooth. That is the nature of what we do. We've had the pandemic. We've had obviously recessions. But I think we've just got to continue to. Just to forge ahead and just do the best that we can, and that's all we can do, really, Chris.
Brilliant.
I think I'd say, similar line. Probably moving forward for myself as well. It'd be to continue to develop, continue, to learn. And, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, and it's what I'm definitely going to continue to do. I think, like we said earlier, if you stop learning, you're not, you're going to stop it, you're going to come to a block. So just carried on with what I'm doing is amazing, and, just continuing learning from these guys and learning about the industry, and, because it's always changing, it's always moving into a different period. We go through different, times. So it's continuing to develop and learn for me.
Brilliant. I mean, it's interesting thinking about developing and learning, and we talked about that ongoing development. We're doing quite a lot of work in different ways with AI and things. I wondered what your view is of how AI fits into your industry, and how, if in any way you're going to change because of it.
I think AI is a very scary word.
It's a very broad word, isn't it? It's very,
it is, especially for an old crocodile like me. But things are changing. But I think our business model is based around that personal touch, that working with people on a face-to-face level, and you know, I personally don't feel at this moment in time that AI has a role to play in my business right now, but that might happen. That might happen at some point, Chris. But you know, we don't work on big databases that match for our clients. Our consultants are building relationships with our candidates and our clients, the old-fashioned way, the old school way. So in terms of AI, it's going to come knocking on our door, I'm sure, at some point, but we're clinging on by our teeth to the old school methods right now. I mean, what's your thoughts, Ellie? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably say similar. I don't really think it's got a big part, just because of how much of everything we do is so personal. You know, it comes from us. It comes from getting to know people, and I think that can stay coming from us.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I sort of think similar. I think the sort of the last part of AI that AI is really useful for gathering information and getting knowledge, etc. I mean, it really is. It's and to do the relatively mundane, often in different areas of what we do. The last thing I think it will become good at, but it probably will eventually, is building relationships. You know, it's the people skills. I mean, it naturally isn't a person, but I suspect over time it will develop into something that can do that and then accept it. But it's probably going to be the last thing that it does, because I suspect for quite a long time most people won't want to speak to anyone other than another person.
Yes, absolutely.
So I completely agree with you. When we specialize on service and communication and care, that is going to see us well for a lot longer than purely a transactional process, which is probably going to be done more and more by AI in some form.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. It's been fascinating to talk to you guys, and thank you so much for your time. And for anyone that is watching, would like to contact you, either of you or the business, what would be the best way to do that?
I think the best thing to do is just phone us. We love to talk. So just we've got a website which is talent@theagency.org.uk. Well, that's the main email address, but telephone number 01274 869 100. And Ellie or myself or one of the other ladies will probably answer the phone. But please give us a call, because we do like to talk rather than just work with CVs and emails. So.
Brilliant. Well, that's a great point of difference, isn't it? Please call us. A lot of people don't want that anymore, so that's great that you do.
Absolutely.
And as I say, thank you so much for your time. You're great to swing by another 6-12 months to just see how things develop for you, the business, and Ellie's career. But for now, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.